Okay, so in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to manipulate objects. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to drag out a box. So if you can remember, you left click and hold down, drag it out, and then let go. Okay, so as you can see, this bar pops up. At the moment, we're just going to ignore that bar, and I'm going to cover it in part 2. So to manipulate the objects, so to make them bigger and smaller, you just click on one of these squares, or you've got this triangle up top, which I'll get to in a second. So when you click on it, so let's grab this one, it goes red, and then if you hold it, left click and hold it, you can pull it and it gets bigger and smaller depending on how you drag your mouse. So you can make it bigger, and as you can see there's one on top, so I can make it taller, and as you can see there is a little arrow up top, so if I click and hold that with my left mouse, I can pull it above the ground, so there's a hole underneath it. So as you can see, that happens when you do that. So then you can just lower it back down. And as you can see, it shows what it is on these little icons here. So as you can see, when I click on that, I can click on the little box and it highlights it. So now with the keyboard, let's say I wanted it to be 50, I can type in 50 and then it will become 50. Okay, so you can do that for all of the options. I can click here, or I can click here and make it so it is, I don't know, 10, and then make it 10. Okay, so over here, this little box area, so what you've got is you've got the radius, the steps, the length, the width, and the height. And then you've got solid and whole. So solid and whole is the exact same as before. So you just click on whole and it'll become a whole, and then solid and it'll become solid. And then you can pick, so it can be colourful or transparent. So yeah. And it looks kind of weird, so I'm just going to get another box so it's a bit easier to see. So over here you've got radius and steps. So first of all I'm going to cover the radius. So the radius is how shaped off you want the edges. So as you can see here, it rounds it off a little bit. So instead of being a right angle, it's just adding a curve to it. So the radius is the amount of curve you put on it, and then the steps, which are related to it, is how many, as you can see when I zoom in, how many little sides it has. So if it's on 10, you should be able to count 10. If it's on 1, there's 1. So 5, there's 5. Then on 20, there's 20 very, very fine edges. Okay, so now what you okay, so these ones, these aren't very accurate, so I don't suggest using it, because as you can see it says 118.43, but then if I pull it down, it stays there, even though it's only 72. And if I click on it again, and then if I click on this, I could type in 90, and then it will become 90. But as I said, it's not very accurate. So yeah. So that's length, and then you can add width to it and height, of course. So you can do that. And as you would see, if you have a little play with it, all the different objects will have different ones. So as you can see, if I pull out this, it doesn't have anything. Whereas if I pull out the ring, it pops up with this weird diagram, which if you just play around with it, you'll probably manage to figure out how you can use this and how it works. So yeah, I can make it so it's a bit of a volcano sort of thing. So yeah. So that is the end of our manipulating shapes part 1, and I will see you in the next tutorial.